why our topic for today is very simple. We need to guard our heart. So can you type that on your screen? Type there, guard your heart. The truth is, our hearts are not always right, and we need to learn how to guard it. In fact, in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, this is the main passage of our topic for today. It reads here, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. In other words, if it's in your heart, this is what you feel, this is what you love, there's a high chance to do that thing, to pursue that person, even if it's wrong, to pursue that career, even if God doesn't want that, to pursue this direction, even if God doesn't want you to do it. That's why we need to guard our hearts. Now, I know most of us, we've heard that phrase many times. Maybe we heard it from a message, we heard it from certain people, or your small group leader. He or she has told you to guard your heart. But what does that mean? How do we really guard our hearts? I'm going to share with you 3 principles, and I hope and I pray that you apply this in your life so that this year, nothing will hinder you to experience revival. Number 1, to guard our heart, we need to strengthen our mind. Strengthen your mind. Why do I need to strengthen my mind? Look at this statement. Do you know that your mind is the only part of your body that God created that can manage your heart? There's no other part of your body that can manage your heart. For example, you are feeling this negative feeling or wrong emotions that you know God doesn't want. Even if you shout at your heart and say, please don't feel that, please don't feel the pain, it's not gonna work. Even if you try to beat your heart, it also will not change. But God has created the mind and placed it above our hearts so that we can use it and manage our heart. I love what the Apostle Paul wrote in Philippians chapter 4, specifically in verse 8. Look at what it says here. Finally, brothers and sisters, in verse 8, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, lovely, admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. In other words, dwell on these things. Imagine if you keep on thinking of what is true. Definitely you will live a truthful life. If you think of what you are assuming or you focus on assumptions, I tell you, your hearts will get confused. Your hearts will have feelings or emotions that are unsure or untrue because you're focusing on assumptions. Or for example, you're focusing or thinking of things that are not pure. Impure things. Definitely, if you dwell on those things, you will do impure things. If you dwell on wrong things, most probably you will do wrong things. If you do things that are not noble, not honorable, most probably you will act not honorable. That's why we need to strengthen our mind. The more we focus on the right things, it's gonna help manage our heart. What's our message again? Guard your heart. Now, how do we do this? Number 1, we strengthen our mind. Number 2, we search our heart. Search your heart. What does that mean to search your heart? The truth is this. Our heart has the tendency to convince us that something wrong is right. How many times did that happen in your life already? You know already that this direction is wrong. This person is wrong. But you argue with your mind because it's in your heart. You try to convince yourself, no, I think this is right. I think it's going to work out. I know it's wrong, but there's something around it that makes it right. Diba? We have that tendency. I remember myself when I was in a wrong relationship. I already know God was telling me to let go of the relationship. I was working already, my first year working in a corporate job. I know that relationship is wrong. But I was still trying to work around it, trying to convince myself and trying to convince God, baka naman mag-work, Lord. Maybe this time it's gonna work. And I know for a lot of us, we've tried doing that already. You see, our hearts, they have the tendency to lie to us, to manipulate the truth, to twist the truth around just so that we will do something that is wrong that we like. That's why we need to search our hearts. In fact, this was one of the major problems of the kings in the Old Testament. That's why God told Jeremiah in Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 9, he said, the heart is deceitful. You see the kings that you are trying to speak to, Jeremiah, those kings that you wanted to change, their hearts were deceived. The heart is deceitful above all things. It's beyond cure. Who can understand it? That's why they were doing the things that are not pleasing to God. That's why they were pursuing women that were not pleasing to the Lord. Because the heart is deceitful. But guess what? There's a king whose heart was after God's own heart. And this is what he said. David said in Psalm 139, verse 23 to 24, search me, O God. Know my heart. Test me. Know my anxious thoughts. And look at the next prayer. See if there is any offensive way in me. And please, God, please lead me in the way of everlasting. I really love this prayer because it's a prayer of humility. Telling God, Lord, you know that I can easily deceive my heart, myself, because of my emotions, because of what I love. But please, God, see if there's any wicked way in my heart. Change it. Transform it. Because God wants us to guard our hearts. So how do we guard our hearts? We strengthen our mind. We search our hearts so that we will know what's the truth. We will know that what is really wrong in the heart, what wrong desires we have, so that we can let go of it and surrender it to the Lord. It's so hard to experience revival if we're not going to do number 3. Because to guard our hearts, it's not just to strengthen the mind. It's not just to search the heart, but it's also to surrender my heart, your heart to God. We need God to guard our hearts. The truth is, a surrendered heart means that I will obey God's desire, even though initially it's against my desire. Let's say your desire right now is this thing, this person, this direction, and you know in your heart it's wrong. You want revival, right? But the problem is there's a strong pull to do this desire. Surrendered heart is saying, okay, I know that's wrong. I know this is God's path. Please give me the strength to pursue this path, to let go of that, because it's impossible to experience revival if I keep on pursuing the wrong thing. That's what it means when we surrender our hearts to God. That's why in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6, trust in the Lord with what? With all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, meaning to say we try to manipulate the situation. It's going to work. I think this is going to be okay. I think this year, maybe God will be gracious as I pursue this. No, do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, surrender to Him. And here's the good thing, He will make your path straight. Initially, surrendering your heart, pursuing God, submitting to Him, initially it's hard. It's difficult. It's painful. But in the end, it's worth it. There's blessing, and it's a straight path. It's a path that is righteous. And you will see how blessed you are when you trust the Lord with all your heart. What's our message again? Guard your